For our first story, we have update. My husband, 29 male, knocked out my brother, 28 male, for calling me, 26 female, a whore, and my parents want me to choose, what is the right choice? First, I would like to thank everyone, and I want to apologize as well for the way I worded my post. It's no excuse, but my emotional state isn't the best. Unable to link my previous post, just look on the account. My husband is my choice and I have no intentions of leaving him at all, never had. I know it's early for an update, but I'm more confused now about what is going on. My parents invited me over to have a talk with them, but they wanted me to come alone as they didn't want my husband at their house. My husband refused to let me go alone and said if he isn't going then he won't allow me to. He basically said with you alone there they will just pile on you and that I won't let happen, so we went together. My parents wasn't happy to see him and my mother wanted to say something until my husband told her he isn't there for them but me, and if he is forced to leave I will leave with him. I agreed with him. Reluctantly they agreed. My brother was there as well. He has a broken nose and chipped teeth and refused to look at me or my husband. He just kept looking at the ground even while talking. Apparently what happened with my brother is that he broke up with his girlfriend a month ago. It's more like she broke up with him, don't know the reason, don't care. I wasn't aware of this as we aren't close like that. According to him the reason he had a go at me this weekend is because my life, according to him my perfect life with my husband, kept popping up on his feeds and he got jealous. Everything on my social media is with my husband. I don't really use it for anything else, but his feed was full of my posts and that set him off as I had something that he didn't. It got worse when he overheard me and my mother talking when I had a discussion with her over children. Me and my husband is currently trying to have a baby and that just made everything worse in his head. His life was falling apart and mine was going perfectly and I had and was trying for what he wanted with his ex. He said he didn't take my husband seriously when he pulled him aside and my husband warned him. I seriously don't know why he went after me as nothing he said was true in any sense, and I did ask him why he said those things. He refused to answer me. I asked him why the whore comment because he knows my husband was my first and everything and it has only been him all these years. He refused to answer. I asked him if trying to have a baby with my husband makes me a whore as it involves sex and he just left the room. I asked my parents why they didn't step in and tell my brother to leave or stop. My dad said he wanted to, but my mother told him to leave my brother be as he is not actually hurting anyone. The same with the ultimatum. They wanted to protect my brother. I asked what about me and they were silent. All my father said was the ultimatum was my mother's idea and he went along with it. This is basically where we are at the moment. A lot more was said but I don't think it matters. My husband did apologize to my parents for what happened but refused to apologize to my brother. When my mother asked him to apologize to my brother he outright said no. He won't apologize for standing up for me and my brother got what he deserved. He was warned and didn't listen. My mother said it still doesn't excuse him for hitting my brother. My husband asked my dad what will he do if someone called his wife a whore. My father said I will have a talk with that person, but will never hit someone. My husband laughed and told my dad he is a weak-willed, spineless man if he allows someone to demean his wife like that. That got my mom red in the face. I could see her get angry. That is when I told my husband it's time to leave. I told my parents that I will be going low contact with them and the ultimatum they gave me broke the trust I had in them. I understand they wanted to protect my brother but in doing that they hurt me. This seemed to take all the anger out of my mother. They asked if I will be cutting them out completely and I told them that is up to them. I don't want anything to do with my brother at the moment as he can't even apologize for what he said to me. I told them if they can respect my wishes we will see. When we got up to leave my husband went over to my parents and actually still greeted them politely but told my dad it's time grow a backbone. I don't know what I saw but I think it was shame in my mother's face because my dad looked at my mother and she looked away from him. This is where we are at the moment. My husband on the way back home apologized for possibly escalating things but told me it was time someone told my dad the truth. He said whatever punishment comes he will take and deal with any fallout. I don't need to worry or stress about anything. Edit. Brother's ex cheated on him and apparently he begged her to fix things but she chose the other guy and now he is just pissed and angry at every woman and believe we will all do that eventually. Got a message from my cousin. The family had a go at my parents for allowing my brother to talk to me the way he did and they came clean as to why he did what he did, but couldn't do it when I was over and we talked. They couldn't be honest with me and just refused to AWNSER. That's the end of our first post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "Your parents suck, as well as your brother." Our second commenter says, "The fact that brother openly admitted he didn't take husband seriously when he told him to wind his neck in shows that brother has never met a consequence in his life. He's used to getting away with whatever he wants." Our third commenter says, "I doubt this is the first time your parents have chosen your brother over you. No way this behavior comes out of nowhere. I'm sorry for you, but I'm very glad you have a stand-up husband." For our second story, we have, "Told my husband, 34 male, 30 female, wouldn't have children in the USA and gave him the ultimatum that we would either move or divorce or be child-free. How do I explain why I am being like this? I am a dual citizen in the USA, my husband is American. And we have been talking about having children, but the unrest from the election has really changed my mind about having children here ever. No matter the outcome. His is not a financial issue, either. I am decently well off from my work. I am an engineer. The issue is this country literally terrifies me right now. It's not the country I moved to in college. It's horrifying, and every day I talk to anyone or walk down the street and see someone talking about their political affiliation here, it makes me seize up. I feel like I'm my great-grandma watching Hitler come into power. She described the realization to me once, and man, it feels eerie. And honestly, it doesn't matter who wins. It's that we're surrounded by people whose views disturb me at this point. We're in red. I've already began looking at houses in Canada. I've been telling my husband for a while, 3 years, that I don't think I want to live here anymore. But tonight I put my foot down, and told him I don't want to have children here ever. It is honestly a deciding factor. I don't want to raise children here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be pregnant here. He just kept saying, "Why are you being like this?" but I don't know how to explain it better. That's the end of our second post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "You don't have to explain it better. You are a dual citizen and you can leave easily. He doesn't have to come with you. He may never agree with you, but this decision isn't for him. It's for you and your hypothetical children. Plenty of my family members left America during the Vietnam era for obvious reasons, and no one questions this. History made it obvious. You can leave a country for any reason you want. If he doesn't get it after 3 years of you telling him, and he doesn't get it at all, I don't think you're compatible anymore. And that's fine." Our second commenter says, "Hey, I'm an American and even I don't want to raise my kids in the USA. I currently live in Japan, was pregnant here and gave birth here 2 times. Japan is a great place to raise kids. Great medical system, great national health care, good schools, very low crime rates, no school shootings ever, etc. Just the issue of school shootings alone would make me want to get out of the US. And then we have the crazy political situation, the ingrained and institutionalized racism, high crime, health insurance on top of that." Our third commenter says, "If you're terrified, living here seems like a no-brainer. Leave with him or without him. Why would anyone choose to live in terror?" For our last story, we have, "My 29 female, husband, 30 male, randomly pulls out porn on his phone during the middle of sex with me. How do I process this? First, I'd like to say that my husband and I have never really had conversations about porn in depth. Our sex life is, or was, pretty amazing. Sex probably about 7 to 8 times a week, always spicing things up. Both of us always very verbal about how much we satisfy each other. Well, ball from left field unexpectedly hit me right in the face 2 nights ago. When I say this was extremely unexpected, I mean it. I would have never expected this. About 5 minutes into sex, everything is amazing, as always. He seems super turned on like always, and then suddenly he pauses, turns to the nightstand and grabs his phone. I'm immediately confused, but I'm thinking I maybe missed it ringing? I'm not sure. Then, he says, "Watch this," and it's a woman on a very popular porn site, which even more unfortunately for me, looks similar to me. Same features anyways. I was in shock at this point because the only very short conversation about porn we've had was about how we don't watch because we both don't feel the need because of how active and amazing our intimacy is. I looked up at him, after he continued for about 30 seconds, and was overwhelmed and embarrassed and couldn't control my emotions, and I started bawling. I don't like to cry in front of anyone, so I was crushed. My heart felt like it dropped, my chest hurt so bad, and my head was in complete shock. I'm his wife, and somehow he thinks it's a good idea to pull out a video of another woman to watch while I'm naked in front of him? It made me feel completely worthless and used at the same time. I felt disgust. I actually can't put into words. The lasting effects of this are uncertain because now every time he touches me I can't shake the feeling of that moment. He's now apologized his fair share of times, explaining it was bad judgment and that sometimes he feels like he isn't enough for me, which I felt like it was gaslighting me into feeling sorrow for his actions. I'm feeling rage and numbness at the same time. I'd like to hear other takes on this, as I'm completely embarrassed and feel so let down, and honestly I'm not sure how to overcome this. That's the end of our last post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, I feel like I'm not enough for you, so check out this porn of this girl who looks like you, while I'm literally inside you. What, yo, your husband is an asshole. Our second commenter says, his not enough for you excuse is bullshit. Otherwise he would have shown you a hot guy. He pulled porn out during sex for him and he needs to take accountability first. Then he needs to apologize. And then try and figure out how to try and rectify the damage caused by his actions. I wouldn't be accepting any apologies until he had done step 1. Our third commenter says, the balls on this guy to pull out porn while having sex with his wife. They must be the size of the moon. That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.